All right, we're going to go over Unit 7, Lesson 5 today, patterns with 5s and 0s. Hopefully you'll understand at the end of this lesson about multiples of 5 needing extra attention. So if real quickly you count in your head and think about 5s, right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Every other one is a multiple of 10 as well as a multiple of 5. So when we think about solving problems with 3-digit or 2 digits and one of the digits being a 5, if it's an even number, you can start kind of thinking, well, that's going to change things because that's also a multiple of 10. So some of the things that we previously learned about our patterns with zeros in our factors and then the number of zeros in the product is going to change. So just be aware of that. You need your SAB, page 273 through 274. Okay, just a little quick mental math to get us going to start with. Thinking about 90 times 60. Again, like I have said in the past, when I do things like this, I think about 9 times 6 is 54, and then that I have 2 zeros in the original factors, and so I'm going to put 2 zeros at the end of that. So that would mean that 90 times 60 is, right, 5,400 because of those 2 zeros. Okay, same kind of thing on all of these, so you can do some quick mental math there. When I divide, that doesn't really change. So if I think about 4,200 divided by 60, I can think about 42 divided by 6, which is 7. But it's 60, and I look at these zeros and I think, well, at least one zero cancels each other out, and then I just get 70 as the top number, okay? So same thing over here, right? 42 divided by 6, 7, and then I add my 2 zeros on. So kind of thinking that way about it. All right. Let's go ahead and go on. We've got Puzzled Penguin here. Puzzled Penguin, always confused, right? He says, Dear math students, I know when you multiply two numbers together, the product has the same number of zeros as the two factors. For example, 60 times 20 is 1,200. There are 2 zeros in the factors, 60 and 20, and 2 zeros in the product. 1,200. I'm confused about one thing. I know that 50 times 2 is 100, and I'm quite sure that 50 times 4 is 200. In these two problems, there's only 1 zero in the factors, but there are 2 zeros in the product. The pattern I learned does not seem to be true in these cases. Did I make a mistake somewhere? So I want you guys to pause the video and go ahead and answer Puzzled Penguin's question on the lines below, then come back and check your answer. Okay, welcome back. So I'm going to type the answer today. We're going to try that and see how it works. Puzzled Penguin is correct, right? Every even multiple of 5 is a multiple of 10. So in the product, there will be an extra 0 when you multiply an even number by a 5. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So anytime there's that extra number there, right? Okay, let's go on. We're going to find the product to complete the chart below. So in this chart below, we've got one factor in the problem that contains a 5, and so we're just going to look at those patterns. So like 5 times 20 is the same thing as 5 times 2 times 10. 5 times 10 times 10, sorry, is 100. 50 times 40 is the same thing as 5 times 10 times 4 times 10. So 50 times 40 is the same thing as 20 times 100. 50 times 600 is the same thing as 5 times 10 times 6 times 100, or 30, because 5 times 6 is 30, times 1,000. Okay. And 500 times 800 is the same thing as 5 times 100 and 8 times 100. So 40, because 5 times 8 is 40, times 10,000. Add those extra zeros in. Okay, so think about that pattern. And again, it goes back to the same thing that we had said before. Any even pattern, even numbered, okay, any even multiple number multiplied by a 5 will give an extra 0 in the product. Okay, because it's a multiple of 10s as well. Okay, so pause the video if you guys need to write that down if you haven't gotten that written down yet. All right, going on, we're going to find each product to complete the chart below. So when we look at 5 times 30, 5 times 30 is the same thing as 5 times 3 times 10, which is 15 times 10. 15 times 10, you just add that extra 0 on. Okay, so 150. Same thing down here. 50 times 50 is like 5 times 10 and 5 times 10, which is 25. Okay, just 2 zeros. So what you should be noticing is that when you multiply a 5 by an even number, there's no extra 0. Okay, so hopefully you're kind of noticing that. There's a 5 instead. Oops, sorry, I have that comma in the wrong spot. I'll fix that in just a second. Comma goes here, not here. Okay, so you should have noticed that when we multiply by an odd number and a 5, there's no change. There's not an additional 0 added in. Okay, so when you multiply an odd number by 5, there is no extra 0 and there is a 5 in the product, right? Okay, again, pause the video if you didn't get that written down as fast as I typed. I don't know. We'll get some feedback on how you guys feel about the typing. Okay, so why then does the product sometimes have an extra 0? Well, that goes back to those multiples of 5, okay? So anytime there is a multiple of 5 that is an even, it will also be a multiple of 10. So if my factor has an even number and I multiply by 5, there will be an extra 0 in the product. Okay? Hopefully that kind of makes sense. And again, if you didn't get that all written down in the time that I was typing, pause the video, guys. That's part of this whole system, is that you should be able to pause and write down, okay? We're gonna go down and I want you guys to, again, pause the video and solve 5 through 8 and then come back and check. And then I'll read out 9 and 10 and then you can try those and pause, okay? So pause the video and do 5 through 8. Okay, welcome back. So you guys are back. We're doing 5 through 8. All I think about is what 8 times 5 is. That's 40, okay? And then from there, I'm going to add that extra 0 on. Because it's an even number, I get that extra 0. So I write down the 40 and add the extra 0 on. Okay, 5 times 7 is 35 because it's an Odd number, no extra 0. Add just the one that was in the original product. 5 times 9 is 45. No extra 0 because it's an odd, so just the 2 zeros that were in the original factors, okay? 5 times 6 is 30, so there's that extra 0 that's coming into play, and then we're going to add the 2 zeros on for the ones in the factors, okay? So hopefully you guys are getting that. I'm going to read the story problems and set them up for you, and then I want you guys to go ahead and pause the video and practice those. Ernesto and his sister Dora are playing a computer game. Ernesto has earned 236 points so far. His sister earned 50 times as many. How many points did she earn? So you're going to do 236 times 50. Please use whatever method you prefer most, be that lattice or partial sums or the shortcut method. Whatever you guys like, just go ahead and do that. Okay, so pause the video and do that. When you come back, you can check your answer. Okay, welcome back. 256. I look at this like 236 times 5, which is 1,280, but I have that extra 0, so I'm going to add that extra 0 on. Okay, then looking at number 10, it says Mount Whitney is the tallest mountain in the lower 48 states of the United States. It's about 14,500 feet tall. Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world. It's twice as tall as Mount Whitney. How tall is Mount Everest? Okay, well, all you're going to do is double 14,500. So you choose. You could add. You could multiply by 2. Okay, pause video. Try that one out. Okay, welcome back. 14,500 times 2 is 29,000. So hopefully you guys solved that out. Okay. All right. That's it for this lesson. Tomorrow we'll be doing Unit 7, Lesson 6. Okay. We'll see you tomorrow.